What if I told you that this hyper-realistic hair was created using just 3 simple steps? No complicated tricks, no secret tools, just a process that anyone can follow. Build the base layer, pull out the highlights, and fine-tune the details. So let's get started. Okay, so the first step is building a 3D base layer. Think of this stage like preparing the foundation of a house. If the foundation is weak, nothing on top will look right. The same thing happens with hair. Before you start adding highlights and tiny strands, you need a solid value structure underneath. Okay, so let's start adding the hair strokes with an 8B pencil and use a flicking motion with variable pressure. Start with a light touch. Press a bit harder through the middle of the stroke and then gradually lift your pencil as you flick your hand away. This creates a stroke with a soft beginning, a darker and fuller center, and a thin tapered end, which is exactly how real strands of hair look. Keep on building the hair one cluster at a time, letting each curved stroke follow the natural flow and direction of the hair. Also, instead of making everything equally dark, you press harder in the shadow areas and gradually reduce pressure as you move into the lighter sections. This creates a soft gradient, which is exactly what makes hair look rounded rather than flat. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is holding the pencil too upright. That creates sharp lines and makes the hair look stiff, almost like uncooked spaghetti. Instead, keep the pencil at a very low angle and use the side of the graphite. This gives you softer edges and much smoother transitions. As you build this layer, keep asking yourself one simple question. Where is the light hitting? The sections tucked underneath other clusters will naturally be darker, while the raised portions will stay lighter. That contrast is what creates the illusion of shine long before you even touch an eraser. All the reference images you need, including the grid and outline versions, are available on our Academy site to make your drawing process smoother and more structured. Okay, so as the base is complete, now it's time to gently blend it using a medium dry brush. Use small circular motions and keep the pressure soft. You want to smooth the grain of the paper while still preserving the direction of the strokes underneath. At this point, the hair may look a little blurry. That is actually a very good sign. It means the foundation is ready. Okay, so now let's move on to the second step, and this is where the magic starts to happen. Grab a flat tip mono zero eraser and carefully lift thin bright strokes only from the areas where light is naturally hitting. The key here is simple. Follow the flow of the hair. Every highlight should move in the same direction as the cluster. If you place bright lines randomly, the realism disappears almost instantly. Think of the darker strokes as shadows and the erased strokes as reflected light. When these two work together, the hair starts to shine on its own. For softer and slightly blurry sections in the background, switch to a perfection eraser. Its softer tip creates gentler highlights that look more natural in out-of-focus areas. Keep your eraser sharp and clean. A dull eraser is like trying to cut vegetables with a butter knife. Technically possible, but unnecessarily frustrating. Also remember that not every strand needs to be bright. If you add highlights everywhere, the hair will start to lose its depth and everything will blend together into one flat, shiny surface. Instead, focus only on the raised portions of each hair cluster where the light is hitting most directly. These are usually the areas that curve outwards toward the viewer, while the strands tucked underneath remain darker. By being selective with your highlights, you create a much stronger contrast between light and shadow. And that contrast is exactly what gives the hair its realistic layered look, and that glossy, three-dimensional shine that makes it feel almost touchable. If you want to watch the full step-by-step tutorial of this drawing, you can access it on our Academy site. Link is in the description. Now comes the last step, the small tweaks and refinements that make viewers lean closer to the screen. Use a B pencil and go along the edges of your highlights to sharpen them and create darker separations between strands. These thin shadow lines make each strand stand apart and instantly add more realism. If certain areas still look dull, deepen them with an 8B pencil. Then lift a few highlights again. This constant back and forth between pencil and eraser is where hyperrealism really happens. It is almost like sculpting. You darken a little, erase a little, adjust a little, and suddenly the hair starts looking real. Finally, add a few flyaway hairs. Use the mono zero eraser with a small back and forth motion. Then flick your hand outward to create a thin tapered end. These tiny stray hairs may seem insignificant, but they are often the detail that makes the whole drawing feel natural. For darker flyaway strands, use a B pencil and apply the same flicking motion along the outer edges. These subtle imperfections are what make the hair look believable. Because real hair is never perfectly organized, and honestly neither is real life. So the next time hair feels overwhelming, remember this. You only need 3 simple steps. Build a smooth base layer, pull out the highlights, fine-tune the details, and add flyaway hairs. Also, if you are an absolute beginner and want to learn drawing from scratch, you can join our drawing course on AHR Studios Academy. It is now trusted by 20,000 students across 165 countries, and you can enroll today with 90% off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.